Welcome to Eyes and Teeth Season 9, another episode of Voices of Variety. Christian Lee is a Canadian-American mixed martial artist of Singaporean, Chinese and Korean heritage. You know what? This is the wrong Christian Lee. The one that fits into my particular podcast is the Christian Lee of Britain's Got Talent fame, an award-winning London Cabaret Host and magic performer who has also won awards for producing top family and school shows that teach a young audience about recycling and basically good things in life. We talk about Max Somerset, BGT, the Kaiser Chiefs, and so much more. The Daily Express called him a fabulous magic-riddled comic. 3 weeks said he had mighty magical talents. With burlesque, comedy, magic or festival shows, Christian Lee is there to make your night of entertainment one of the best. I'm proud to have toured the UK with Christian and performed some lovely venues, including the London Hippodrome, where ventriloquist Ron Lucas filmed his first TV show. Anyway, it's a pleasure to catch up in a 2020 lockdown over Zoom with the brilliant Christian Lee. Christian Lee, the Evening Standard called Christian Lee hysterical, and so do his audiences, and I should know because we've worked together countless times. Christian, thanks for being on Eyes and Teeth.
I'm here, and I've got eyes and I've got teeth, so that's good.
Yeah, well, I got good teeth and good eyes. It's good to see you, and it's good to bite you. I don't know, I was just trying to link them together. It didn't work. Mate, how did you get the magic bug? Or was it magic first that you fell in love with, or how did it start for Christian, and how old were you? Do you remember how old you are when you first saw your first magic? What is that little spark that started you off?
Yeah, no, Steve, I can tell you the truth on this because I actually do remember. And even though I'm in my 50th year, I can go back, maybe about 37 years. No, what would it be? I can't do the math, but I was 16. I was 16 years of age, and I was a blue coat.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. 34 years ago. Yeah. Yeah,
Riviera, I believe I was.
Down in Torquay?
Weymouth.
Oh, yes, I know the venue. It's behind Waterside Holiday Park, isn't it? So it's a bit further up. I know it's a big, long building.
Are up on the hill, aren't they, up there as well?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. It's Art Deco. And I went to a performing arts school at the tender age of 16, and what they had was what was known as a YTS. Now, you will know what a YTS is because it's a youth training scheme.
It's
a government-sponsored course, and you got about £40 a week, which sounds pretty good now.
Yeah. No. I mean, at the moment, it would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
£40 a week. This was 1987, mind. So 1987, we trained for a bit at the Melody Urquhart Master School as a dancing, theatre, singing, all the rest of it, everything you would want, tap dancing, ballet. And then they would kind of rent us out. Holiday park managers would come in and audition us, and it's very chorus line. So I got picked out. I was last picked. They didn't quite know what to do with me. I was an anomaly. I was an anomaly. And they picked me up because I could juggle a bit and I could ride a unicycle. I couldn't dance and I couldn't sing. So I was always the last to be picked. However, they didn't know. They didn't know what was to come. You see? No. I was the runt of the litter, but I was going to blossom. Anyhow, long story short, working the camps, the Ents manager said, could you do an act with magic? Because we hear you were good at magic. Oh. Dumbfounded. I had no idea I was good at magic because I'd never heard of it.
Who told you were good at magic?
Someone must have, they got confused with juggling and magic. Because it was near Bristol, we went down to a little shop down in Bristol, magic supplier there. And we just basically spent, £50 and built an act. And I became the magician. And ever since have been since then, and that was the bug, really.
Oh, that's amazing! And I remember spending about 50 quid with you in a magic shop in North Wales a couple of years ago. Do you remember that at all? We went into this joke magic shop, and I bought props I didn't need. They were magic props. I thought Arthur Lark was going to be a magician, and we bought props, didn't we?
Your memory is terrible. It was Scarborough.
Of course, it was Scarborough. It's very similar to North Wales, Scarborough. Was it Scarborough? I never thought I'd been to Scarborough. Was it? It was Scarborough.
I've got pictures of you in Scarborough. We were walking up where the funicular is. Do you know the funicular?
No bad language on here, please. No bad language. Yes, I do. I remember the funicular. Funicular. Yes.
We were racing the funicular up and down those steps. And
oh my God. I've just pictured. Yes. That there was about 100 steps behind this. Oh, was it this? What was the name of that theatre they were knocking down, or they were about to knock it down?
It was, wasn't it? It was all getting. Who knew they were ahead of the curve? This was 2018 or 17.
Yeah, they predicted it. They predicted it. But that's amazing. That's it was great. We'll get to that tour and those moments that we had together. But it was brilliant. So you've bought all these props, and then, like you say, you never look back, and then magic it become your thing, I guess.
It really did. Do you know there was a touring wrestling group that was on the holiday camps? You know, the kind of
I used to see those. Tours? Yeah, when I was cabaret in Haven, they used to turn up. Yeah, all these wrestlers.
Did you ever get refereeing on them? Did they ever get you in like a kind of?
No, I shied away from it. I was in Barry Island when I was 17, 18. I'd done a few seasons like that where you could have got involved, but I said I didn't want to be involved. I wasn't that. I was quite shy, and I wasn't that upfront without a puppet. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't be in there with a dummy on my arm. Well, that would have been good protective.
But the chap that was the kind of wrestler, the boss of the wrestlers, if you were, he was quite an elderly chap then, but what else could he do? It's all he's ever done. He was a bit of a magician as well, and he used to sell magic tricks around the camps. That's and as a little sideline. And he sold me a fantastic trick called Ghost. And it was a deck of cards, and you put 4 cards into the deck at random points, the volunteers, and then he waved his hand mysteriously over the cards, and each selected card came out mysteriously one at a time. Wow. And it blew my mind. So I gave him my £5 and I then became the first magic trick I ever had.
Really. The ghost trick was your first one for a £5.
Yeah, £5, and I still think that's probably one of the best tricks around. Still,
that's amazing. Well, he also knew what he was doing, selling that same trick all round to young budding magicians who didn't want magic tricks, but they ended up.
Worse. He then gave me some suspenders and women's clothing to put on, and this was serious. Because I didn't know this, so I bought the trick, and then he said, "Here, shove this on, because you're going to be our wrestling referee." And they had a gag where I'd have all the women's clothing on under my. They had these kind of lycra tracksuits.
Oh, I see where this is going. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, they put me in the corner, and then they had this kind of faux fumble, and they sort of fell, and then they caught my trousers, and the place erupted.
Got the suspenders on. Oh, that's brilliant. That's actually quite funny. And you obviously had the sense of humor to go along with that. You were happy to be the fool in that moment and the funny compare. And you were like, what, 17, 18 when you...
I think I was still 16 then, yeah.
When you were dressing up?
It was... you'd be on a charge now, wouldn't you, if you gave 16-year-olds young boys...
wearing tights and suspenders, yeah. But that's brilliant. I like that story. That's really good. But with the wrestling, they were those guys though. They were like party animals. So when I was doing the circuits, they said, "Oh, the wrestlers were here last night." So all the Haven mates were exhausted because they were drinking till 4 a.m. because the wrestlers had been. And I don't know. I guess they just wrestled all night with the Haven mates. But they just seemed to be, destructive wherever they went. But they were good guys. I had a laugh with a few of them. But
all of them had their knees had gone, hadn't they? But they're all strapped up their knees, and really? Even the 20-year-old young wrestlers that they're bringing on board, their knees are gone. And you think this is not a good career path. Can't you see the future? Look at him. He's 70 and he's still doing it. And it turns out he was actually 35.
It is taking its toll on him, but he's still wearing the suspenders. So
probably still doing it now.
And that would have been like, black. I'm trying to think, 25 years later or something, 30 years later.
30, 40.
So he'll be 100 now.
Yeah. No pension.
Eyes and teeth. So, Christian, you built up a reputation on the London Cabaret circuit. You're really well known within the compere and as a host as well. You're a great host. I love working with you when you're hosting because you get to do your acts. You bring all the acts on, and you know so many people in the variety and the comedy world that you really know how to put a good show together. So, how did you start to get? Where are you based, and how did you start to get around the London circuit, which is a mainstay of a lot of your work, wasn't it, for years?
Many years. And today I tour around the UK and abroad like many of us do when we can. But then I was breaking out of children's shows. So after the camps, I kind of sort of came to London and I got into family entertainment, children's shows, parties. And it was a very lucrative business. It was just extraordinary. You could just work 3 days a week and you could just relax. So I was doing that for about 10 years maybe. And then I got burnout on kids' parties. Burnout, it was terrible. I started not to care. I started not to really kind of feel the vibe anymore. So I knew I had to get out of that. And I turned the ship towards cabaret. I sort of met a friend who was into this, and he was an actor, and he brought me along to this in the vaults. Do you remember the vaults in London, under London Bridge?
I heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. There was many venues around there, and he took me to this club there about 2004, something like that, and we kind of rocked up to this show. It was a burlesque show, and it was called the Kitten Club.
Okay.
And subsequently, I became their host to the Kitten Club. We toured for many years. However, I thought, this is fabulous. I love this world, sort of murky world of cabaret. You know, all the dark eyeliners.
And you could always step in, couldn't you, as well? If they needed somebody else in suspenders, you could just jump in there and.
Well, funny enough, that did come back.
Did it? Did it return?
I had a young lady who used to put me in a box, and I taught her how to do this box trick where you stick swords in it.
Oh yeah. Metamorphosis. Right. Yes. Of words.
Of words. These are words. They're useful. And so I taught her this trick, and she was part of the Kitten Club. But basically, I'm going off on a tangent now. Terrible man, sending me off on tangents. Anyway, we went into the box. I'm going to continue with this story. She shoved swords in it, and I went in my kind of suit and tie. Swords went in every angle, every direction. She pulled out all the swords, and then I would come out wearing the same sort of suspenders, bra.
Wow.
And saying, this act is becoming a bit of a drag. But getting back to your question about how did I get into it, well, that was my introduction to it in 2004, and then I just got into Madame Jojo's, Café de Paris. I started running regular cabaret nights, variety nights, burlesque. It was a crossover burlesque, so we had the top of the cabaret circuits, and all over the UK used to come into our clubs. You were many times you were attended some, you know. We got into the Hippodrome Casino. We were running.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Hippodrome one. We've done that with Sol Bernstein, didn't we? Was it Sol Bernstein you put on there?
Bernstein, that's right. Yes.
Brilliant night.
Great venue as well. Beautiful theatre. Magic Mike are there now. Well,
they are. Yeah, it went from Magic Christian to Magic Mike. So and they take their clothes off as well in their magic act. So,
there's a theme.
Yeah, they've copied you.
Who knew? So that got me right into all that cabaret circuit, and it went on for many years and still does. But then I did the Britain's Got Talent, didn't I? So that's
Yes, you did. You done. I think I worked with you before you went on Britain's Got Talent. I think we done a few shows together before then, and we did. But then we went on a tour, didn't we? We got this. Was it a Haven tour that we did? To Haven.
Yes, the first one. Now,
Park Resorts.
I think we may have known each other. I think we met each other in 2016, actually. We became aware of each other and sort of started working together. 2016. Because it was about the same time as BGT, but my act hadn't been aired at that point, had it?
Okay.
So, I was still doing the kind of Hippodrome Casino. And so that's what happened really there. Then you and I hooked up. And then the tours began. That was right, because that's when I got into the agent with you.
Yes. And then you because you're doing the cabaret, you've done a lot of sort of more adult venues and adult audiences, and then you're catapulted into this world after Britain's Got Talent into doing more family audiences, or going back to them, which is like kind of hard work. The holiday parks these days, when they're running about and they don't have the attention that you had in them cabaret venues, where they pay to see a good show or see the burlesque, and it's a wonderful, respectful audience. And then you go to the holiday parks, and I even introduced you to pot noodles on that tour. It was a completely different vibe, wasn't it?
It was, and when you had a lovely audience, it was such a joy to have, and they were all sitting and they're listening. It was like the perfect storm. All the things came together. The bar was quiet, and everyone's listening. And all it takes in those rooms really is people to pay a bit of attention, and the show would rock. But as soon as you lose them and they're off, arcades of whining in the background, it's such a struggle, isn't it? But you do learn your stuff. You find techniques to kind of grab them.
You do. Yeah.
You do false promises, don't you? At the end of the night, I'm going to take my clothes off, and it's going to be me in suspenders again.
I will threaten you with my 1987 act if you don't listen. But I mean, you nailed it. It was just such good fun actually touring with someone, because when you do holiday parks, you're normally just the main act, and then there's a band, or there's just the Coats are doing their production shows, so you don't really get to see anybody. You come in, you do your spot, they say hello, they say goodbye, and then you're back in the car. So it was really nice to share a dressing room with you. You're always there way before I was, but you got me there. This is the dressing room. Sometimes they turned arcades into our dressing room as well, didn't they? That was fun. We had more space.
They were not dressing rooms, some of them. Yeah, because we went into, was it an arcade?
Yeah.
They had a shutter that had to go up and down, didn't they? And we had to time it, because it could take your neck off if you mistimed it getting out.
Which is a great illusion, by the way, isn't
it? Indeed. But just going back a couple steps back to the BGT stuff, I don't know. It was strange in 2016 after the BGT stuff, and I already had made contact and we had worked together a few times, but the cabaret world just went flat for me after BGT. I lost so much work, so much regular work, because people thought you were a television star. Suddenly you wouldn't come and do a kind of spot in a small club for a low fee anymore.
Was that just their assumption? They assumed that you wouldn't take the booking now, and whereas really it should have opened doors. And I had that experience as well, where doors were closing when I was still happy to work with them, people I'd worked for years, and I would contact them. I said I'd like to and I kept all the work. I had like 6 months of work after BGT, and I kept every job. I didn't cancel nothing. The management I was with wanted me to cancel, but you have to stay loyal in this business to agents and people that have paved your way, and if you cut them off, they won't have you back. So it's kind of strange. It's the other way with you, where they just didn't phone because they thought, we can't afford him no more. But I'm sure you would have been happy to oblige.
It was amazing. You're getting hundreds of millions of hits on sort of YouTube channels, yet your diary was sort of sinking into abyss, and I don't know. I had, this is when I had to take control and actually go for it, and then luckily I had a couple of great videos from the show, and I could contact agencies that I've never been in touch with, and the video sold itself really. And then I ended up doing all the overseas work, the TUI work, and the ships, and the pantomimes, and it all started coming together again, and it was a whole new outlook of work came.
It
And
is a whole new style of venues as well, isn't it? And different, and it's different going in a completely different direction, you know. But it just comes to you after Britain's Got Talent. It does open different avenues and doors, and finds you work you never thought existed, you know. And have you been able to go back to the London Cabaret circuit since? Obviously not in the last year, but are you planning to go back? And because you really started to host some great shows, you come up with this brilliant show called Britain's Got Magic, which I've done a few of, and there's like 2, 3, 4 acts you have on there. We love that concept. It's such a great show. And so I hope we do more of them. They're great because we get to see a couple of our mates as well, and just have a great time backstage, and go and see museums, just visit museums in different towns and cities around the country.
You're so funny. That's a great. Whatever happened, whenever we stopped in a town, we would want to visit a museum. They were closed.
They were all closed. We learned nothing, apart from the boat up in Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Royal Yacht.
It was
Britannia.
It was the Queen's Britannia. I forgot the name of it. That's embarrassing. But wasn't that we had afternoon tea on the Royal Britannia?
We did. In fact, I remember you and I had the same thought at the same moment as we're driving along the motorway, heading towards Edinburgh from the Glasgow side of Scotland. And you and I saw the sign, you know, saying Royal Yacht Britannia, and it pointed off to the left. And we just looked at each other, and almost without saying anything, we knew we were going.
Because it was just like a museum, and it was open.
It was open, and it was floating. But this started a whole string of events that kept happening, because you and I would meet in a town or tour together, and maybe be sharing cars, but we could never remember where we had parked our cars.
I'm still the same now.
You thought I was paying attention, and I thought you were paying attention. We spent 40 minutes looking for where we parked the car.
I think that's when you need someone else on the tour with you. You need somebody to remember where your car is, and remember that you're there to work, and not go around museums and you know, spend 50 quid on a scone or a cup of tea or on the Royal Yacht. It's about those days. You can't waste days just getting to a gig and not do anything. If you're with someone, you know, enjoy the moment. And it was a very romantic time with you on the Royal Yacht. I really appreciated it.
It's strange, isn't it? All the world dignitaries that have ever been on the ship, you can think of from the 80s all the way up to now and beyond and before. But there was Steve Hewlett and Christian Lee together.
and we've got letters after our name now. So it's Steve Hewlett and Christian Lee BGT. So we're good. But you're an award-winning comedy magician now. We talk about a few of your awards. You've won the London Cabaret Awards. You've been the best host at the London Cabaret Awards. That's incredible to get that notoriety. How did that come about?
It came about because they were looking for people to be the best host of the London Cabaret Awards.
Oh, I see.
And as I was one of the best hosts in the town at the time, it seemed apt to put me forward for such a accolade and honor. And so it was great fun, actually. It was a very nice night out we all had. I forget what year it was. It probably was 2014, maybe earlier. And I just enjoyed the whole cabaret hosting experience. The world was brilliant, had multiple venues all over the place. So when the Cabaret Awards emerged, I wasn't nominated for 2 seasons before, and I was getting a little bit miffed. I'm thinking, who are these people that are not putting me forward? I'm definitely there. I mean, do you remember our old diary we used to use? It was called the Time Out. So back the paper copy. If you didn't know where you were one night, and because you didn't have your mobile phone with you or any kind of diary, you would just check the time out to see where you were. And so it was such a great, glorious. These were the golden years of cabaret, really. And
yeah.
So they had all the kind of time out writers And so they were the judges, really. So it was your peers, really. And they kind of put us forward, and they put me forward. And yeah, so, that's how it came about, really. And then I sort of accepted. And then we had a lovely night at the Café de Paris, I think was one of the finals. And then there was a theatre in Wandsworth where for another year I just went along to. But no, brilliant. That's how it all came about. And I'm an award winner.
You're an award winner, and to be at the Café de Paris, which has recently closed down after 100 years or so being open, is a very sad moment in what's happened with some of these great venues we're losing. But you've done it. Yeah, it's on your CV, so we'll keep that there. You've come down. You've done a few shows with me as well, and hosted a show called Arthur Lager's Big Night In, and you came down. Had really good fun doing that as well. That was great fun with my mate. Barney Pout when he played Rich T, and so it was a kind of a game show type concept variety show, and so that was nice of you to come down and do that show for us. We only done 3 of them, so it was really good fun to get you in.
I was in a third of your shows.
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
what a great night that was. The chap from the bill, who was that?
Graham Cole came down, when he was a secret celebrity, wasn't he, on that night?
And I remember you put me in the same dressing room as him, and I just kept looking at him because he was like always on the telly 3 times a week, and he was sitting right next to me. I think I was a little bit starstruck because he started blabbering and saying those ridiculous things.
he's a lovely guy, Graham, and he was always on Noel's house party as well as one of those regular guests, on with Noel Edmonds and stuff. So we always knew his face. But that was a really good show to be on, and you won the Slammer as well, BBC's The Slammer, with Ted Robbins, was it?
Yes, Ted Robbins. What a man! He's so kind and generous with his time as well. But I was I thought he was the chap from High.
Oh, right. Oh, Ted, is it Ted?
Because he's had the same name, but it's a similar style of stand-up comedy. Rogers and Shane, isn't it? Shane.
Paul Shane.
But
he played Ted, didn't he? Play Ted in Heidi High, maybe. I don't know why I've got that.
That's right. Yeah, his name was Ted in Heidi High. So when I was working with Ted Rogers on The Slammer, which, by the way, for your listeners, was a children's television show set in a prison, Her Majesty's Prison, which was but it was a sitcom, and they had a kind of talent section where we would have to win our freedom by the children clapping. So we had a clapometer.
That's brilliant. They should do that now. That concept now, we have to find our freedom to get out of the house. You like a COVID slammer type game.
Yeah. Well, you have to wait till they're clapping for the NHS to kind of up your hands.
There's a link. You wait till Thursday and you might get out.
You could. But I was so excited. I didn't think I would care because there was no cash prize in winning the Slammer. So there was 4 acts pitted against each other, variety artists mainly. And so I went in, I did the Slammer, I did my act, and then they clapped loud enough and I got my freedom. But it's when you're waiting, when you're on the podium, you're waiting to see if you're going to be the winner. You didn't think you cared, but actually you do care. Suddenly it becomes everything. It becomes all encompassing. And you you couldn't believe it. I was punching the air. I was so excited, and they dragged me out and threw me flowers, and they threw me outside the prison. They had this set where you come out through the gates and your parents are waiting for you to take you home. But they brought me back I came back again in that show, season 3, and they brought me back as a re-offender.
So that doesn't sound good.
Well, I didn't. No, it doesn't sound good, does it? I don't know how they commissioned that show, but it did 5 seasons, and so I came back, and I came in season 3 again. So I was season 2, season 3 of the Slammer, and I came back, and there's a couple. I remember there's 2 guys on the show doing keepy uppies, with the football tricks. They have a football, and they were quite young. They were like sort of maybe 19. And I was in my 40s, and but they were kind of always going, "Oh, I bet you really want to win again, don't you?" And I really didn't. But just kept pushing my button, going. And then I didn't win as a reoffender. They kept afterwards, sorry, mate, that's terrible. You must feel awful about that. And I was like, no, I'm fine. But now you mention it, I do feel awful about it. It was just, they were so young and they just thought I must, I'm washed up. This must be my last chance.
Where are they now? Where are they, eh?
They're still kicking their football up somewhere.
You're really good with putting shows on and creating your own shows as well. You find venues, you create shows. You're very active and proactive, which is great. And I know your wife Ray is really good, at making sure that you're always in work, which is great. And it's coming up with the ideas, which is difficult these days. But and I'm sure you've been working in the past year how to get back out there and do it, which is one of them, because I know me and my wife Nina have, and we've got a list of ideas. And so, but it's so nice. But festivals has been a big thing for you as well. You worked at the Wilderness Festival and Shambhalaya Camp Festival. Can you tell me about the festival work? Because you do workshops as well. There's so much that Christian Lee can do. It's not just magic and juggling, but you work with children, and I think you've done schools. But you really can provide more than just a magic show and a hosting of a show. But you've got a lot to give.
No, I try to be kind of, try to do new things really. And if someone suggests something, I like to give it a go rather than shy away from it and go into your comfort zones.
Hence the suspenders.
Yes. I'm sure they will come back again. But it's true. I mean, we all got to kind of diversify, and I've been sponsored or supported by the Arts Council on previous incarnations of shows, children's shows, where I toured two successful theatre tours runs for a show called Pop, which was a mime show. So it was a little bit like kind of set on a remote beach, and I've been washed up.
Right.
And I had to use all the props I had in my basket and
improvisation.
Yeah, and it was great. That was a really good show. But we're bringing out a new show. We're working on a new show called it's called What a Load of Rubbish. And it's an environmental impacting show,
Wow.
And that again has been kindly supported by the Arts Council. So we've got funding.
Brilliant.
Queen's Theatre Hornchurch is supporting it as well. And we're going into schools and we're doing workshops as well, environmental issues, sustainability. Brilliant. So the show is again a mime show, and I'm going to be using bits of rubbish to create illusions with. So
wow, that's inventive. I love that idea.
Yeah, and we got money to do it, so we're going to do a good job at it. We got people on board, directors. It's all very, very official, very posh. But that again is Ray, my wife. She knows how to write these letters and make the applications. So she's very, very in tune with things like that. So we're a good partnership. So I will go and do the slog work. I'll get up at 7 a.m. and go up to the theatres and set up. And it's great to have all that kind of, creativity, especially in the time we live at the moment, where there feels so little outlet for it, really.
Yeah. No, it's amazing to actually have plans, actually have something planned to come out the other end. So good luck with that show, mate. It sounds brilliant. I love it. And it sounds like a hit as well. And it's something like talking about the global...
The planet. We're looking after the planet. That's what we're doing.
Looking after the planet, recycling, all that sort of stuff, and just making kids aware of what's going on and how we can save the planet, which is great. So you've done some summer seasons and some pantos as well. So you play Wishy Washy. That's a dream job, isn't it? Great fun.
We love that down at Farnham. Farnham Hall in Fareham.
Farnham Hall in Farnham, yes. I mean, because Keith Harris played that a couple of times. He directed some pantos at Farnham Hall, Keith and Orville.
I saw his pictures all over the wall there in our dressing room, down the stairs. It's a lovely, cracking little venue. It wasn't quite a theatre. It kind of had multiple uses. It felt like the seats could go back, but once you got 700 people in that room, it was a rocking room. It was really great. It was my first professional pantomime. Can you believe that?
Oh, okay, wow.
2017. And, you know, that was the first outing for me, really. So it was like a real eye-opener to go into a kind of what was a lead role, I guess, wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Linchpin really to it all. I've got another panto. I see you have a new panto coming up as well.
I've just signed up to panto, yeah, a bit of Peter Pan, never done that, but my kids love, my 2 girls love Peter Pan, so we're going to watch about 5 of the movies before I go into it, just so I can get some inspiration. But I am Smee and Arthurlaga's grandpa Smee, so that's Smee sorted. So what panto are you doing?
Beauty and the Beast in Lincoln New Theatre Royal.
Wow, which one are you playing?
I am Beauty.
Of course.
I'm Marcel Elemente.
Oh, you're learning your French now, are you?
Well, the thing is, I think he's the candlestick character, but
oh, amazing.
They can't use the Disney name, so they have to call him Marcel Elemente. So, you know, for copyright reasons, but you know, it's great to get into a theatre for 4 or 5 weeks, you know, and
yeah, I can't wait. It'd be brilliant.
Interesting, won't it, this year, to see how people come out, and will they come out? And, you know, hopefully, you know, people will be more confident with it.
Yeah,
and,
I think so. I hope so, and I think that
people look nervous still, don't they? But I think as soon as we stop talking about it, people will kind of, I reckon within a week, everyone will just go back to hugging and cuddling and licking lampposts.
I hope you should never lick lampposts. I don't care what is going on in the world. Don't lick a lamppost. And if you're talking about the bottom part of the lamppost, you do know dogs walk past those lampposts
on a regular basis.
Can you tell me about some of the idents that you've done? You've done one for Harry Hill, and you've performed with the Kaiser Chiefs, so you've done a bit of the creative music video world as well. Yes,
funny enough, we shot a kind of scene for the Kaiser Chiefs, Modern Way, the video was. Check it out, you'll see me, but you might not recognize me.
I used to have just as a candle.
I was actually Sven the Great. He used to be an alter ego of mine, a character, comedy magician called Sven the Great. And it appeared on a television show back in 2005 called Maps Magic, Sky TV.
Okay.
And Sven had his own little section of this TV show. And he would go out doing tricks on members of the public, trying to get hip with the young audiences. But he was a kind of elderly magician. And he would sort of like have disasters would ensue. And, you know, like I would try and just make blow up my bananas. That was it. I had a set of bananas. I was going to blow them up with my mind. And behind me, the block of flats would blow up. So it's great. It's on YouTube. Check it out. You should really have a look. It's so funny. It kind of got, it was that, I actually shot that myself and took it to the TV company. And they loved it so much, they commissioned 10 more.
Wow,
like it.
Brilliant.
So it was just like, just being energized and ready to go for it. So Sven the Great got asked to be in the Kaiser Chief video. Now, my music knowledge is not great. And I was sharing a bus on the set with these other guys, these blokes I thought were roadies. And we were just having a chat, and I'm Sven the Great, and I'm getting ready. And I don't think I was even meant to be on this bus. But I don't know the etiquette. Turns out that those roadies were the Kaiser Chiefs.
Wow.
And yeah, me not being that aware, I was just chatting and having a good old laugh, showing them some magic tricks. And yeah, so it was all shot in Covent Garden, and that's the Kaiser Chiefs. And yeah, check it out, Modern Way. It's a very good video, and you'll spot me because I'll be on a unicycle with a moustache and gold, sort of a shiny gold jacket. So that's me. Blink, you miss me. Harry Hill ident was great. I was doing magic dressed up as a giant chocolate bar. And they kind of sort of superimposed us onto a coffee table, and it was part of the idents for the Harry Hill
wow.
show. And we were just on in the advert breaks as kind of, I think it was a Mars, sponsored by Mars or something.
Okay, yeah, I'd done something like that after BGT, working for Mars, and got to go and perform at their HQ for all of their workers and stuff. And 2015, that was great. Nice company, and got loads of free chocolate and Maltesers. That was great. You've got loads of lovely quotes here, and some of them obviously from the BGT experience. I'm going to read some of these out. I had the best view of everybody at the trick, and you're a great magician. David Walliams, he may write a book about you. Alicia Dixon, you entertained us so brilliantly well. You know how to work the audience. I had a big smile on my face. It was silly and stupid, but all in a great way. Alicia Dixon, she may write a song about you. It's nice. You're very, very funny, which makes it entertaining tonight. The thing makes it for me is your humor and your banter. Really enjoyed it. Amanda Holden, yeah, don't know what she can do. And Simon Cowell, I think you're funny. It's just nice, isn't it, to get a quote from the boss, isn't it? So to say I think you're funny, he said that to me once backstage, which is nice to hear that from the man's mouth.
Simon says things like that. I think you're funny, and then there's usually ... that follows, and you always have to cut him off quickly.
I've actually written that after the quote. Yeah, I've written ... after that quote. Actually, funny enough. But you've got some great reviews. Can you just tell me, go back a little bit about Maxi Magic? Who was Max? Was that a real magician, or was that just the name of the show?
Max, old chum of mine, really, really good friend, 25 years standing, and he's called Max Somerset, and he had many shows. He had a lot of television exposure. He had a TV show for BBC, free series called The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and they basically did The Apprentice, and they had all the kids in this big manor house, and he was like the sorcerer living in a tower, and the kids would week by week, do their magic, and if they impressed them, they stayed. If they didn't, they get one at a time expelled. So but he had a show, his first sort of real proper TV show, Max Magic, and I came in as a consultant on the show, being his mate, and kind of made an impression on the production team, and they realized, they kind of scoped it out, and they made a space for me and then another chap called Joe, and the three of us basically made this TV show that's meant to go to series 2, but there was some sort of controversy with Sky Television and ITV. There was a bit of a buyout going on, and someone didn't answer the phone to someone else, and they all got the commissioners got a bit moody at each other, and they just cancelled the show. And it was such a shame, because we were already in production making season 2.
Oh, you're kidding. It's such a shame when channels buy each other out, and then those series is about to be made and it just gets scrapped because a channel has been bought or has to move, and then all the producers move, the directors all change, and they don't take you on board, do they? They don't take those ideas on board. They start again. Which is devastating for a lot of productions, because I've heard that a lot in these chats, that shows were just stopped because of it.
It got explained to me as the commissioner, the new commissioner, doesn't want to take the show because it might be successful, and it wasn't their show they commissioned. So they don't want to take the chance. And if it's a flop, they don't want to have it either. So it's a bit of a lose-lose for a new commissioner. So that's why they generally drop shows and just bring in their own show that they want to do. But we got one season. All 6 episodes are out on YouTube of Max Magic. And it wasn't just that magician. I had multiple characters. I was dressed up as old women in women's clothing.
Here he goes again. Isn't this how we started the chat, and we're ending on it now?
And I had all these different characters, and it was such a great experience, being relatively young. I was just in my early 30s then, so I was quite up for it and going for it. And I was we used to wake up at 7 in to get the scene. There was a character called Stefan from Stuttgart, and he was a lost tourist roaming around London, central London, asking people, directions. But I would do magic tricks on them, and in this character.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Terrible accent. Hello, I am Stefan from Stuttgart. It was awful.
Well, that works. Well, it's interesting to use characters, isn't it? And still doing the magic, but you can dress up as any character. You know, you don't have to be a male. You could be a female character. But it seems like you've used a lot of characters in your career, but always worked around the magic idea, which is quite a nice way of working. Really, you could be anybody then.
Yeah,
you could go back on Britain's Got Talent as somebody else. You know, the magic suspenders or something.
Well, don't tell anybody, but I was thinking about doing Britain's Got Talent again as Sven the Great, bring him back. And,
that would be brilliant. That would be great.
A bit like, who's it? Mark Salem, not Mark Salem, Mark Spellman, who did Britain's Got Talent.
X.
And he came back as X, didn't he? And
it was, do you know what? It was great television, wasn't it? It really was. When he finally revealed himself again, that sounds wrong, but he did. And facially, he took off his mask, which you're not allowed to do these days. But he took off his mask, he revealed himself, and it was just such a poignant moment when he went back through the video footage, and obviously what we saw was just genius. It was great. So if you can come up with something, I guess so many magicians around the world are coming up with the next big thing, and maybe some are coming back, but they're in disguise. And how do you work that out? That's took a lot of years planning.
Yeah, you're looking for an angle, really. I mean, the BGT stuff I did was great because the amount of exposure that gets you around the world is extraordinary. Because I ended up doing another show called humour in Romania. It's a TV show, and I found myself on a TUI holiday park in the Med, and there was a guy. These parks, they have these kind of sort of hot dog stands where the holiday makers can just get their free hot dog. Well, I was standing there, and the guy behind the counter said, "Oh, it's you from hey," and he got his mate and said, "Look, it's him from the telly." And his mate was from Romania and went, "Yes, he's from humour." And the other guy went, "No, Britain's Got Talent." And they were having an argument. And I went, "Guys, listen, I did both."
It is you twice.
But that sort of exposure is so amazing, really, because you go through the airport, security, and the security guards will know you, and you think, well, how do you remember that? That was 2016, and you don't realise that they've just watched it this morning. It's just come up on a feed somewhere.
Yeah, I guess when it's on your phone, anything can come up, and people will watch. And people. I'm still getting bookings now from 8 years ago. Mine was, and so people remember it, and they say, "Can you send us a clip?" But that still gets hits. But you've got. I had a look this morning. You've got over 65 million hits on your clip. Mine's nowhere as near that. It's incredible the amount of views you've got on your YouTube.
I don't know who gets all that money, because it's like an advertising thing, isn't it?
I know, BGT, because if you get over 1 million, then YouTube will sponsor you, and you will get paid for every clip from then on. And 65 million is not a bad income. And with all those acts, I mean, some of the singers, they get 500 million or so. When they're sensational acts, they just get more and more hits, and then it spreads. I mean, my BGT clip last year just started trending on TikTok, and I only just joined TikTok, but somebody messaged me and said, "You're trending on TikTok," and it literally is just me pulling out a Simon Cowell puppet. It was 30 seconds. But I was trending, so I joined TikTok just to enjoy the ride. So I think it only got another 50 views. I don't know what it means.
I'm going to go and have a look at TikTok now and see you trending.
Yeah, but you've trended. You've trended over 65 million times at least. But that's only on one clip. There are loads of different clips that people upload of us, on BGT. But it's the main Britain's Got Talent site that actually puts it out first. And then people rip it, and they start accumulating all these pennies, which is very rude, because we should be in on it.
Oh, controversial.
Before we go, and if you don't mind ending on this, the balloon that you put on your head, to me, I wouldn't be able to have that power in my nostrils.
That balloon, oh my goodness, that's followed me around about 8 years now. That balloon is kind of part of my act, and I remember talking with you about the balloon and trying to work out ways of kind of modifying it because I felt that the balloon was, because I put it on my head and it's all blown up, the pressure of the rubber was starting to kind of make my mind go a bit skewy.
Yeah, it's very powerful, isn't it? When you put that on your head and you think that must have extreme pressure on your head. It's squashing your head because it's holding all the air in. It's such a massive balloon. It literally is huge. You can get a human inside it. But it's one of the funniest routines. You've done it with Amanda, didn't you?
I did. And it just works so well. I mean, hopefully when we can get back to performing live, hopefully I'll be able to still be able to do an act like that because, you know, you worry that people don't want to be near anybody anymore. And hopefully, well, there was a brief outing, wasn't there, last summer where we could go out and we were doing cabaret shows.
Did do a few gigs outside, Butlins and Warners, And
I started that act again, and people weren't worried, and that's why I'm joyful and hopeful that as soon as we're allowed to, it will all just come back again. Because I saw it last time. People just want to be entertained and they want to see it real. Now we like real life now, and that's where we're going. We're going back to real life because we can't do this digital stuff too much. Bodies are lazy, aren't they? The body wants to do the easiest thing, and staying at home watching Netflix is the easiest thing. But if we have to, we'll go out and we're going to conquer the world again with our real life.
That's what we need. We need contact with people, and real life is good. I think I'll leave it there because that was very poignant what you were saying. And I'm going to put some violin music underneath it as well. It's lovely that.
I'm stroking you.
You're trying to touch me.
It's virtually hugging there.
Oh, bless. And now, just as a finale, if you just take off your shirt and your trousers and then see what underwear you've got on right at the end.
You think I've got underwear on?
Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not. I've just seen if you're still wearing them suspenders, just for old time's sake. Christian, it's always great to work with you, mate, whether I'm putting the show on or you're putting the show on or someone else is putting the show on. Just nice to do any show, isn't it? But it's a pleasure touring with you around the country in museums and afternoon teas and just
coming
getting
back.
It is coming back, mate. So we're really looking forward to doing it again with you. And it's thank you so much for being here, and love to your family, your wonderful family. They all good. They all happy.
They're all happy and in school. I can't believe they're going to have half term. They've only been back for 13 days.
We tried to be normal in the last year, and it's been nice, you know, to be home. And
your normal's not like anyone else's normal. I know you.
Oh, I don't know what normal is, really. Christian Lee, thank you so much for being on Eyes and Teeth. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Steve, for having me on your wonderful teeth and eyes and nose podcast.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
It's been an absolute joy and a pleasure. Thank you very much. And I'll look forward to listening. Take care. Good night. Bye.
Eyes and Teeth. Thanks to Christian there. Go to his website for your private bookings at www.christianleeshow.biz. Say hello to Christian on Facebook at Christian Lee, and his Twitter handle is @ChristianLee311. Today's quote comes from the late and great Paul Daniels. When people say to me, "Don't the years go fast?" I have to be honest and say that whereas I don't realise where they go in the long term, I pack so much into a year it seems to take forever. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Nina, Larissa and Lola Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jingles are produced and performed by Kevin Dean. Join me for another conversation on Eyes and Teeth, Voices of Variety, when I speak to another fantastic Britain's Got Talent finalist and impressionist who never gave up during the pandemic. He created more and even wrote a book. That's the one and only Danny Postill.